Hello and welcome back to my channel. You know, natural dyeing does not always go to plan, and today's video is all about a huge autumn dye pot fail that I had recently. I dyed with a variety of autumn fruits and leaves. I'm going to show you what went wrong and the spectacular waste of time that it was. At the end of the day, I did get some colours on the fibres, which I'll show you at the end of this video. You make your mind up whether you think it was worth it or not. Personally, I think it was a big fat fail this time, but that's okay. That's part of natural dyeing. We have to learn as we go. We've just gone through autumn in Japan. We're in winter now, even though it's like spring today. The fruit that's synonymous with autumn in Japan is the kaki, which is a persimmon. There were so many persimmons everywhere, loads of trees, with neighbours giving away persimmons, and I got a couple of bags of persimmons from 2 different people because they thought that I could use them in my dyeing. There is something called kakishibu, which is something that is used in the natural dyeing process also to put a kind of lacquer on wood, which takes around about 1 year to process. So because I don't have time for that, I had these persimmons gifted to me. I thought maybe we should have a little go and see if we can get any colour at all off them. I'm going to start the dye pot, so let's go to my dye kitchen. Here's the persimmon after it's been dried. I kept the tops as well. I peeled the persimmon skin with a vegetable peeler and made it really, really thin, and then let it dry with some silica gel packs. This was about 3 different persimmons, so I'm hoping that we can get some colour, even though there's not a lot of material here. I'm going to just put a little bit of water and just do a little sample test. So when I say dye kitchen, it sounds a little bit fancy. Basically, my studio has a tiny little kitchen, and I have a hot pot kettle. I put this little stove that was a gift from my landlord, a vintage one. It's really cool. And this is where you would put the stove if you were living here, but this is just my studio, so I don't live here. It's not that fancy because I've got my vacuum cleaner next door to it, and you know, it's just functional. I've boiled the kettle so it's hotter than doing it from the hob. I do believe it is better to do it slowly, but let's see. So I've got a stainless steel pot just used for dyeing. All your dye equipment needs to not be your kitchen equipment, so make sure you don't get it mixed up. I've got my spoon for stirring the material. I've got my dry material, and I'm going to put some water in here, and we're going to get making some dye. So in goes the dye material. It's all dried. I'm hoping that the dry material might give me a better colour, and in comes some water. Because the studio water is quite alkaline, I'm going to add some cream of tartar, which is acidic, which should bring out some of the colour, like brighten the colour a little bit. I believe that cream of tartar might also stop the mould. I'm not sure if that's true. So I'm just going to put a little bit in, and then so far no colour, but it's only just started heating up, so I'm going to pop the lid on and give it about 20 minutes. The materials I'm going to be dyeing with for this experiment is my old classic bedsheet, which I seem to use every single time. It's 100% cotton. We've got 100% cotton gauze, double gauze. We've got some vintage cotton, which is quite rough. These 3 are kind of white, and then we've got a cream silk, which is kimono lining. We're just going to do some really tiny swatches because I'm just doing a test to see if it even works at all. I'm not going to put a garment in because I'm not even sure this is going to work. It's been 30 minutes and I'm going to see if I've got any colour at all. I'm just a bit doubtful. Let's see. Whoa. It's a kind of very pale yellow. And I'm not holding out much hope for this. However, I'm going to leave it overnight and see if anything will come off it. If not, it's going to be plan B tomorrow. I'm going to add something else to the pot. Let's see. I'm back in the studio the next day and here's the results of the persimmon dye. Uh-oh, nothing seems to have happened. It's really just very, very pale yellow. So I think it's safe to say it doesn't work. So plan B. So this is my plan B for the dye pot. I collected these leaves just before Christmas and washed them and left them out to dry in this colander. In here I've got some ginkgo and maple and sakura leaves, and I'm going to see if I can get any colour off these, and I'll just do a mixed dye pot. I've put the hob on to warm this through, but frankly there's no colour coming off this at all. So I've just put the water on to warm and I'm going to put the leaves in and see if we can get some different colours. I'm not sure this is going to work, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, you know. I'm just going to put everything in, boil it up and hope for the best. It's going to be a terrible mess by the end of this project, but it's part of the experimentation fun. Right, I'm going to put that on for about half an hour and see what happens. The mixture's been boiling for around 30 minutes and this is what we have. Not sure how much colour we're getting off this, but I'm going to leave it to soak for 24 hours and then we'll see what colour we can get off tomorrow. Let's have a look. It's been soaking now for, the persimmon's been soaking for 2 days and the leaves were added yesterday, so they've been in for 24 hours now and they're cold and that is looking a little bit miserable. So I'm going to get the dye materials out and I'm going to soak the fibres for the weekend, but I think this is a big fat fail. Oh dear. I suppose it had to happen sometime. So I'm going to get all this out. Oh gosh. What a disaster and what a mess. I should have put it in a mesh bag, I think. Oh no, this is a mess. Oh well. I'm going to go and put this on one of my plants outside. Oh, this is gross. I'm glad I put cream of tartar in because it's not gone mouldy, so that's good. It's so cold in here anyway. Ugh. What a disaster. Oh, I'm going to put the hob on anyway because I'm going to put the fibres in. This is just disastrous. Okay, the hob's on anyway. Ugh. It's pretty disgusting in here. Oh no, look at this. So I'm going to soak the fibres for half an hour while this is warming up. I'm still going to do a fair test and see what happens. Alright, I'll be right back. I've just come into the studio, it's Monday morning, and this has been soaking since Friday, so it's 2 days in the dye pot and there's hardly any dye left after I'd warmed it up, so let's have a look. As predicted, the colour is a little bit insipid. So I'm going to give it a little rinse and I'm going to show you when it's dry. It's time for the results of the autumn dye pot. Now, first of all, we have the cotton, which is not that impressive. This is the cotton before and that is it after. There's a lot of effort just to get it to this beigey cream colour, but it's still quite nice. It's not too bad. It's better than nothing. So that's that one. And this is the bed sheet, which is 100% cotton. And this is what this one looked like before. So quite different. That was pure white before, now it's kind of like a creamy, pinky, yellowy colour. So not too bad. The silk, as usual, dyed quite well. I'm not too unhappy about this at all. I got some good pieces of silk. I don't mind them. I got 3 pieces of silk out. Quite nice. This is the colour it was before it went in. So it's very different. And finally, this is the double gauze, which doesn't look like anything happened to it really until you lay it side by side, and you can see the difference between the white and the dyed one. So those are the results. I'm going to pop them into my dye diary now and make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again. I've added it to my dye diary, so I've made some notes about what I did. Stay tuned to see what happens with this side of the page, because I'm going to be adding some iron, some rust water, and also some citric acid. I'm going to see if I can change the colour in any way to enhance it a little bit. So watch this space and I'll show you next time. In my last dyeing video, somebody left a comment to ask about what is inside my diary. So it's not a secret. I can show you the colours that I have in here. And all these videos are on the playlist, on the natural dyeing playlist, so I can link to them in the description. So we have onion skins. This one is olives, olive leaves. Not olives themselves, olive leaves. There we have avocado and black beans. And chestnuts. Mainly the husks of the chestnuts, not the nuts themselves. This is pomegranate skins. And Momiji is maple leaves. These ones were summer maple. This was an eco printing with food scraps project, and then chrysanthemum dye, with iron and without. And then this is also chrysanthemum dye. Oh, this one was also eco printing with marigolds. And this one is red onion skins. Perhaps my favourite one, this one. Goldenrod that I found. And what's this one? Coffee. This is like a drip coffee bag project that I did. Rosemary from my garden. An eco printing with leaves project. Red beans. And today's project. What's going to happen on the next pages? I have loads of plans of things to show you. If there's anything you want me to dye with, please mention it in the comments. I did this experiment so you don't have to, and frankly, I'm just going to consign this to the scrap heap. Thanks so much for watching today. If you find my videos useful or interesting, please make sure that you subscribe, like this video, and hit the notifications bell so that you know when I'm uploading some new content. See you next time.